Attention, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you guys can hear me okay. I hope you can see me okay. It's a pleasure to start another open Q&A session. As you guys can see, today I am not in my office in Brazil. In fact, I am in the United States, in Scottsdale, Arizona. So I am participating in the largest mini-tab conference in the globe, you know. Hello, Cedric, how are you? I had the pleasure, the honor to be invited as a speaker for this conference. And I thought in maybe, spending few minutes here with you guys to share a little bit about the topics that are being presented here. How is my audio on a scale from 0 to 10? Because I know there is a lot of background noise. I had to find like a place. I tried to find a place that is as quiet as possible to have this conversation. Yeah. So we keep our weekly frequency on this open Q&A. But I think there's a little bit of a background noise. I hope you guys can hear me okay. Yeah, Vindra, is that okay? Wonderful, excellent. So see, this is the largest mini-tab conference in the globe, and it's pretty much 2.5 days. There is something that they call a pre-conference workshop. In fact, there are many different workshops. It starts on Sunday. I had a chance to deliver one workshop on Sunday morning. It was a 4-hour workshop about design for Six Sigma. It was super, super, super cool. Yeah, there's a little bit of noise, right? But you guys can hear me? Wonderful. So, yeah, it was super cool. And then there was another design for Six Sigma. As you guys probably know, it's an alternative method when you do not have a process in place nor a product in place. Normally we use Six Sigma when we are trying to fix a chronic problem, yes, a problem that we don't know the causes at all, and so we need to have a process in place, a current process. When we are creating a product or a process from scratch, then Six Sigma is not the best. In fact, Six Sigma does not work. Lean Six Sigma does not work when you want to. It is not the most adequate method when you want to create something from scratch. And then design for Six Sigma, that is a method created by GE in the 1990s, is definitely one of the most powerful methods to guarantee that your design is connected to the voice of the customer. Yeah, so it's pretty much listening to the voice of the customer, translating into CTQs, then identifying the potential concepts, and after that, optimize the final concept. Yeah, and verify if the final optimized concept meets customer requirements. Yes, and then there were many other like super cool workshops on Sunday, mainly about predictive analytics. So I really wanted to touch base today. I thought maybe in postponing for next week our conversation, but I really did, made some effort to come here and talk to you guys because I want to register now on May 2nd, 2023 about the importance of regression. So I know I have many of my green belts here, my black belt, mainly for my greens and my black belts. By the way, if you are my green belt student or certified green belt or black belt student or certified black belt or master black belt, type here for me. I am a GB, I am a BB, I am a MBB. Mainly for these students, regression is the topic. Regression. So you must know what is R squared adjusted, okay, the content that we have in our green belt, and obviously way deeper in our black belt training. R squared predicted, sum of squares, MSE, yeah, ANOVA table, and also the non-parametric regression techniques. For example, CART, random forest, tree net, machine learning techniques. Okay. If you ask me, Marcelo, tell me just one topic that nowadays I need to master. This is definitely regression. Okay, so type yes if you understood that. Type yes if you understood that. Super, super, super important. Okay, super, super important. And then there were on Sunday some few workshops, like 4-hour workshops about predictive analytics. Okay, pretty much CART. So they cover CART, classification and regression trees, on what they call like basic predictive analytics, and on advanced predictive analytics they cover random forest and tree net. Okay, wonderful, excellent. So I want to go like item by item. Does it make sense? Yeah. So just to give you guys a flavor of what is going on here at the conference. Right now we are at day 2. Yeah. It has started like 1 hour ago. Yeah. And I want to give you guys a flavor of what happened yesterday, what will happen today, and on Wednesday. Okay. And once again, we did have like this pre-workshop where I had a chance to speak about design for Six Sigma, and other instructors talked about predictive analytics. There was one about just want to confirm. Yeah, two about predictive analytics. Okay, 2 workshops about predictive analytics. Yeah. Amazing. So yesterday, there was a very nice session about screening experiments. So when we talk about DOE, design of experiments, we know that we have basically 3 steps, 3 phases. One that we call screening, when we have many factors. Some people say more than 10, some people say more than 6 factors, and you just want to shrink down to a shorter number of factors. Okay, so we call this screening DOEs. And then we have the second phase, that is characterization. So we have DOEs that are focused on modeling the processes. And then we have the very final phase, that is optimization. Yeah. And then where we normally investigate how does the response variable behave according to the input variables, but considering not only the linear behavior. Yeah, normally we do consider the quadratic behavior as well. And then for screening DOE, there is one type of DOE that became very famous, that is Plecht-Berman. But the problem with Plecht-Berman is that you have many of your what they call main effects, the isolated factors, confounded with two-way interactions, and this is dangerous. We call this resolution 3. This is very dangerous, because the quality of your conclusions, the quality is not very good, So there is another type of DOE named definitive screening, where we can optimize very much the number of runs without this problem of having like the isolated factors, the main effects confounded with the two-way interactions. Okay, so that was a very cool session that happened at the very beginning. And then there was one that was my favorite presentation so far, from a lady named Madeline Titus. She goes by Maddie, and she presented her it's a young lady, I think less than 30 years old, and she presented her entire journey, all the way from the white belt, yellow, green, black, and master. She did not conclude her master black belt journey certification, but she presented the entire journey, the main tools that she had learned, more focused on Minitab because it's a Minitab conference. So she talked about capability analysis, DOE. She talked about measurement system analysis, about hypothesis test, one factor at a time. So it was beautiful, 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 beautiful. And she highlighted the impact of this journey on her personal life. Yeah, so super inspiring, super inspiring. I do strongly recommend you guys maybe reaching out to her on LinkedIn. It's Madeline, Madeleine Titus, Titus, okay, from Sangoban. Then I went to another amazing presentation from my mentor, Scott Kowalski. I don't know if I told you guys this before, but to become an official Minitab trainer, there is a very rigorous certification process, you know. And my mentor, my professor, the guy that certified me was Scott Kowalski, and he's the guy that wrote the Minitab manual with Douglas Montgomery. Yeah, so very respected professional, researcher, practitioner, and definitely an amazing mentor. And I had a chance to go to this session, and he was talking about the importance of not accepting the null hypothesis. Because when we are running a hypothesis test, normally when p-value is greater than alpha, we say that there is, for example, on a two-sample t-test, for example, we say that the means are equal. And this is a huge mistake, huge mistake. Because when the p-value is greater than alpha, the only thing you can say is that you've failed to reject the null hypothesis, meaning it's inconclusive. You can't conclude anything, you know. So you can either say that one mean is different from another, or no conclusion. Like, I failed to reject the null hypothesis. So if you are comparing, for example, two different suppliers and p-value is greater than 0.05, you should not say that the suppliers are equal. Suppliers are the same. Yeah? You should say that we don't have enough evidence to say that the two suppliers are different. And he explored this beautifully. It was like full house. He got full house. and then he ended presenting the beautiful equivalence test, because you can run like two hypotheses, one-sided hypothesis test at the boundaries, you know. So you define, you specify some boundaries. So I don't want the difference to be more than this value nor less than this value, you know. And if the difference falls between, I don't know, -3 plus 3, then we are good. So you can run a one-sided test versus -3, yeah, and one-sided test versus +3. So that's a very cool way, you know, to dribble this problem when you wanna show like equality, yeah. Because again, on a hypothesis test, you can never say that, again, one supplier is equal to another, yeah. Beautiful. Then there is something super cool that they do here. They call a Minitab Solution Center. So you have all the different softwares: Minitab, Workspace, Engage, Minitab Connect, and then you can model ops, and then you can go and have, you know, like a flavor of each of these softwares. So super cool. So there was a 1 hour yesterday that was dedicated to that. Then there was there was an amazing presentation about response surface methodology. That is the other extreme on DOE. Yeah, remember I talked about definitive screening, then screening, experiments, characterization, and then optimization. Yeah. So by far the most used DOE for optimization is response surface methodology. Yeah. So we had an amazing presentation about that yesterday as well. And then there was another presentation from my mentor on another type of DOE that is we call split plot DOE, that is used when you have, for example, one factor that is they call HTC, hard to change factor. So imagine that you are running a design of experiments. You know that you must randomize the runs. You must randomize the runs. But then you have one factor that is oven temperature. So when I used to work for Philips displays, like to produce to 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 connect screen with the glass cone, you had a mechanical thermal process. So in order to change the temperature of the oven from the level plus to the level minus, we needed 12 hours. So imagine that you have, I don't know, 32 experiments, runs, and then you have like to change. Let's suppose you need to change, like, you start with temperature X, and then you need to change to temperature X divided by 10, and then you need to change again, and then change again, and then change again. This experiment would take a lot of time. More specifically, 16 days. 16 days. It's a lot, right? So there is a way where you change just once. You run all the experiments at the highest temperature, and then the other experiments at the lowest temperature level, but you need to be careful with some important elements, mainly of your array and how you interpret and how you flag to Minitab that this is an HTC, that this is a hard to change factor, so you can optimize a lot your experiment time. You reduce a lot with some very trustable results, okay? Much better than simply not randomizing the runs. That is something super dangerous. Yes, super dangerous. Yeah? Wonderful. And then for today in 20 in yeah, so there is a session about predictive analytics, as I mentioned before. Yeah, Gauge R&R. Today there will be a session about Taguchi. Taguchi is a type of DOE that normally it is not very much used, but Taguchi was a very respected, researcher, and then there will be a session about Taguchi. Okay, from one of my favorite MBBs ever, Scott Stubbins from Ford. I had a chance to see this guy presenting on ASQ conferences, on Minitab conferences. He's definitely amazing. And then there will be another one about control charts, X bar, S chart. Then there will be one about predictive analysis again during the afternoon. And then there will be a last one for today on Monte Carlo simulation. Monte Carlo simulation, when you have your model, you know that you can estimate the, let's say, the probabilistic behavior of your response, informing to Minitab probability distribution, location, and spread for the input variables. So you have, as a result, as an output, also a probability distribution, location and spread. So with that, you can, for example, estimate your capability, your process capability, your CPK, PPK, or Sigma level. So Monte Carlo simulation, very, very cool. Very, very cool. Then tomorrow there will be a session about design for Six Sigma, another one about DOE and Monte Carlo simulation, yes. And I'll be presenting during the afternoon tomorrow about the work that we are doing digitally. I'll be talking about this model that we are using that are helping so many people with the free white belt certification across the globe. Like, how did we get tens of thousands of free certified white belts using a good portion of the revenue that comes from the green belt, yellow, black belt. We just feed back, and then we use part of that obviously to increase our bases, to increase at the end the number of green belts as well. But instead of using this simply for marketing, we are using this also to promote a very positive impact on many lives, many lives, because we know that it is possible to have a training company that is financially healthy and at the same time promoting an incredible positive social impact in the world. Right now we have free white belts that were certified in 108 countries. Probably we do have here in this session people that got their white belt certificates, and learned about Lean Six Sigma and increased their employabilities, for free. And obviously we also have here yellows and greens and blacks and master black belts. So I'll be talking about this model, and I hope it inspires, people to use, this model or a similar model. Again, considering both legs, it is important that you have a business that is financially healthy, but there are ways and ways to do that. And there is a way where you can do that, promoting, a lot of good, a lot of positive, social impact. So I'll be talking about this tomorrow, okay? Guys, again, it was a short conversation, a quick conversation. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so very much for joining me here. I'll be flying back to Brazil on Thursday, so in 2 days from now. Spending few days in Brazil. I'll be teaching in São Paulo on Saturday, and then flying back to the US. So very likely our next Q&A session, that will not be Tuesday. There is a chance that it happens again here from the United States. Okay, guys, thank you so very much. It was a pleasure, having you here in my open Q&A session. And today it was not exactly a Q&A session, but I wanted to talk about the largest Minitab conference, global conference that is happening in Scottsdale, Arizona. I don't know if you guys can see. Let me try, so you guys have a flavor of the place where it is happening. Let me see. I think you guys cannot see. Yeah, guys, thank you very much. Thank you, Vindra. Thank you, Mepelo. Thank you very much, Patrick. Thank you, guys.